Hello, welcome back to my channel, Jurobi, Literature Made Simple, where I have decided to introduce you to various literary concepts and also try to help you to develop the perception or the mindset that literature is not as difficult as people may make it look. I prefer to say it's sometimes challenging. It makes you think deeper and deeper. By being difficult, I beg to differ. In our last video, we're looking at the elements of drama. I introduced you to a couple of dramatic elements that when you pick a book, you can read and identify that this is a drama book based on your ability to identify those elements. We continue with the elements of drama in today's video, but let me be quick to inform you that in today's video, the various elements that I'll introduce you to are combined elements of drama and prose. That is, you are going to identify these elements in a work of drama or in a dramatic work and in a prosaic work as well. The first element that I want us to look at is the setting. What is the setting of a play? What is the setting of a drama? What is the setting of a prose? Setting, like I have on your screen, simply means the place and time of a story or the place and time of an event. The place answers the question where. Where did this take place? Where is this story staged? Then the time answers the question when. Now, a little bit deeper about what setting is. When we talk about the place of a story, we are looking at the geographical location of the story. Now, the content of the story, in this case, I will say content, not plot for now. The content of the story, where is it placed? Like, what group of people is it about? That is place. So we have place in terms of an African story. So Africa is now the where. We have the place in terms of European story, what we popularly call the Afrocentric and the Eurocentric views or stories. We have place can be so narrowed or so specific to mean a village setting. Place can be so specific to mean a city, can be so specific to mean a farm's hut or a homestead. So simply, when you read a story, the story is usually about a group of people or it's about a particular belief or anything. Now let's look at Things Fall Apart by Achebe. Now, when you read the content of Things Fall Apart, you can answer the question where to mean an broader view, an African story. But more specifically, it's a Nigerian story. Now, how do you get to know of the place? How do I know specifically about the Nigerian story? The Igbo names or the Nigerian names, the Yoruba names, you encounter typified proverbs that are limited to the people of Nigeria in Africa. So you are right to say it is an African story. You are better off saying it is a Nigerian story. And there are people that can even be more specific by mentioning the particular tribe within Nigeria that the story is about. Now, when we talk about time, we are talking about when a story was written, when the story was told, when the drama was staged, when the drama was written. Now, time could be pre-colonial time, drama or stories that were written before colonial encounter. Colonial stories, we have post-colonial stories. Time can also be winter, summer, that is seasons. Time can also be continents. Time can also be morning, afternoon, evening. So time varies. The time can be modern times or contemporary times or historical times or prehistorical times. So you realize that the setting of a story can be very broad. depending on the story you read and what is entailed in the story before you get to answer properly what is the setting of the story. Now, when I start introducing you to real scripts, when I start discussing books of drama, books of prose with you based on your recommendations, I will help you identify place, time, or the setting of stories. The next couple of elements I want to talk about, I want to combine these two elements because of the controversies that surround them. That is the theme of a story and the subject matter of a story. Now, the theme is the central idea of a piece of writing, be it drama or prose, sometimes poetry. Then the subject matter is what the entire story is about or what the entire story is all about. Now, let me break it down. The subject matter is more specific than the theme. There has been a lot of controversies. People think that because they say the theme is the central idea, it is specific. No. When we say central idea, we are looking at ideas are broad, ideas are big. So we are looking at of all the things about human life, which one is the write-up talking about? Which one is the drama or the prose or the poem talking about? That is the theme, the central idea. So it could be about love, the theme of maybe love. It could be about marriage. It could be about, so sometimes people, back in high school, people always say that it's not right to state the theme in one word. I agree with that. But for the sake of this video, in order to make you understand the difference between theme or subject matter, theme is broader, subject matter is more specific. So I have some examples there. The subject matter, so let's talk about the theme first. The resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. This is general. Resilience of the human spirit. So it could be any breed of humans. It could be blacks, it could be whites, it could be uh, females, it could be males, it could be countries, it could be families. It's general. So if they ask you what is the theme of a particular drama, and say one, the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity, you are looking at the human race as an entirety and how they are able to resist adversity, how they are able to persevere during the times of adversity. Now look at the subject matter. A story about a family struggling financially. So the subject matter is now limiting the resilience to a family. How a family struggles financially, how they are able to resist certain temptation, how they are able to fight, how they are able to struggle and cope with their financial predicament. Then you are talking about theme, the subject matter. So the theme is general, resilience of the human spirit, subject matter, specific, how a particular family. Another example I can use, let me use love. So we can talk about the love of a mother, the love of a family being the theme, family love. Then, if you're talking about subject matter, maybe you talk about the love of Okonkwo for his family. Now, family love is general, and the love of Okonkwo, which is now becoming our subject matter, is now limiting the family love to a particular family, that is Okonkwo. So that is what you should know about themes and subject matters. Now, let's look at the plot. A very important part of drama, prose, or literature is the reader's ability to identify and understand the plot. What then is the plot of a story? It is the sequential arrangement of events in a story. Sequence. When you set out to tell a story, or when a playwright or a dramatist or a novelist or an author sets out to tell a story, that person arranged the story in a particular order. If you remember, when I was talking about written literature, I said the text is fixed. So it is arranged in a particular order. Now, the sequence or the order in which these events are arranged from the beginning through to the middle and to the end is what we call the plot of the story. So you can either say the sequential arrangement of events in a story, or the order of events in a story, or the arrangement of events in a story. Once you look at it in a sequence, this character came, this event took place, the next event, then the next event, then the next event. If I want to loosely link plot to a movie, what I would say is this telenovelas that we have today, you cannot watch season one and go and watch season three before you come and watch season two. You may not understand the story very well, the way you are expected to. The seasons are arranged from 1 to 10. That is a telenovela of 10 seasons. So season 1, season 2, season 3, we are looking at sequential arrangement. Then we can talk about the plot of the novella. So that is it. Now, how do you get the plot of a story? We have what we call parts of the plot, or what I call when it's drama, the dramatic diagram, or the diagram of a prose of how a plot is arranged. If you want to tell out a story, if you want to write a story, you have to follow this pyramid over here. And this is, for your information, this is for a simple plot, just a simple plot. So we have the exposition being the first part of the plot. Then we have the rising action, we have the climax, then the falling action and resolution, which some people call denouement. Now, when we talk about exposition, we are looking at the point where the writer, let me use writer generally, not for prose or for drama, but that the writer sets out to introduce his or her characters and events to you, the reader or the viewer. So, and this usually comes at the beginning of the plot. So you start reading about the characters that you see or read about in the story, certain minor events. The whole thing is being introduced to you. So mostly the expository part of a story may not make much meaning to readers. Now, after the introduction of the characters to you, then we go to the rising action. Actions start rising. Actions are introduced. Your characters or the various characters start facing different forms of conflict, internal conflict or external conflict. Man against himself, internal, man against man, external, sorry, man against society, society against society, or individual against society. Various conflicts are being introduced. Tempests are rising. Readers' expectations are rising. Readers start making predictions. This is the rising action. Climax. I always tell my students that this is the highest point of suspense. This is where you become eager to know what happens next. This is where your heroes, your heroines, your main characters start facing actions that will determine their fate in the story. So we say climax is the height or the highest point of the story, and it creates suspense. After the highest point, the actions start falling because conflict begin to be resolved. Situations are becoming calmer. Those evil ones are being revealed, good ones are being revealed, intentions are being known to you, and we call that falling action or anti-climax. Then finally, everything is resolved. The fate of characters are being determined, and this is the point where we call resolution. That is, everything has been resolved. Sorry, once again, everything has been resolved. Then you look at it as the part. So if you want to write drama, if you are reading a story, you should be able to identify the resolutory part or the expository part or the exposition. You should be able to identify the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. Now, there is something we call the complex plot that I want to introduce you to. With the complex plot, when after the exposition comes the rising action, then there is a climax. Note, a complex plot or a complex plot has more than one point of climax. And that's why you get to your seasons or series movies, the seasonal movies or the series movies. At the climax, usually most of these novellas, they end at the climax or after the climax, when the instead of the action falling to the resolutory part, it starts falling, get to a point, it stops, then starts rising again. Another action or conflict is being introduced. So there's another rising action. It gets to another climax. It starts falling, another rising action. So a good, creative, intuitive, imaginative writer can keep falling and rising this action, and you can have seasons or series of episodes in a particular story. And this is very common with drama on screen, novellas. This will bring us to the end of today's video. I hope you have learned something. We looked at the additional elements of drama, which I mentioned are combined elements of both drama and prose, meaning you are likely going to identify the elements I mentioned today in drama and in a work of prose. And I mentioned that these elements are the setting, place, and time. We look at the subject matter and the theme, and I try to differentiate between them by making you aware that the theme is central idea, usually general. The subject matter is what the writer said about the theme, so usually specific. Then we look at plot. Thank you. Have a nice day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.